Good evening and welcome to the Cheltenham Exchange Lucky 15 Shootout. So, as we said previously, the concept is that one of the team will be taking on a very special guest for each of the 4 days of the festival. They'll each be picking 4 horses to stick in a Lucky 15, whether it be a 50p win Lucky 15 or a 25p each way Lucky 15, which we will then be placing with corals. And at the end of next week, should there be any winnings, all winnings will be donated to the Injured Jockeys Fund. So that's the plan. It's Thursday night, the week before the festival. So let's just hope we have a few runners before, rather than talk about winners. Let's hope we have a few runners to give us a good go at these bets. So we're on to day 2, and our very special guest, Mr. Ginger, or Mr. Jordan Joe, as he some people know him. Private joke there, sorry. It's it's the Super Ginger Joe, and he's taking on our very own Matty Luke. So good evening, Ginge. How you doing, mate?
How you doing, OJ? So I was just giving Matty the death stare there before we got underway.
Yeah, Ginge said he didn't want day 2 though after the news last week.
Oh,
day 1, sorry, day 1. Didn't want day 1.
You wouldn't do that to me, lads. You wouldn't do it.
That's my only win I'll get out of this video.
It's a lot of needle between these two. A lot of needle.
all good, friendly banter.
So yeah, looking forward, Joe. The days are ticking down.
Yeah, can't wait now. It's starting to feel almost frustrated with the wait, but then I realised it is Thursday night, so we don't actually have long to go, do we? So time to calm down and just get ready for the good stuff now, and just take on your Matty first of all, and show him who's boss. So yeah,
loving that. And how are you doing, Matty? Everything all right, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Last 3 days, I've got 3 more shifts to go in work, and then next week off. So looking forward to watching the racing. Unfortunately, I can't make it down next week for the festival, but yeah, I'll be at least I can get to watch it. Just got 3 more early get-ups to go.
Excellent. Right then, fellas. I don't even know what the saying was. No further ado, or something like that. Anyway, this. We'll see how this goes. So I'm going to go through the races on day 2 one by one, and I'll be asking if anybody has a selection in the race. If you've both got a selection in the race, then out of courtesy, I'll be coming to our very special guest before yourself, Matty. So Joe will be putting his.
I thought you were going to say me then, because I'm not on that often.
Okay, so day 2 of the festival, and we kick off with what is now known as the Gallaghers Novices Hurdle. Have either of you got a selection in this race for us?
Yep.
Oh, Matty's got a bet in it.
Yeah, first one I'm putting up, and it's not Ballyburn. I am actually taking him on. I said it on our preview the other night that he was my nap for this sort of race, and that was obviously when I thought Ballyburn wasn't going, but I'm still going to stand by it. And that's Predator's Gold, available around 8 to 1 with Coral. I think it is, OJ.
8 to 1 indeed, Matty.
Yeah, like I say, he's got Ballyburn to beat now in the race. However, I do think his last run at Leopard, in the Nathaniel Lacey at the Dublin Racing Festival at Leopardstown is decent form. I think that run behind Dancing City and just ahead of Jatara, I said I'm happy enough to put him up, and I think the trip will suit him quite well. So yeah, Predator's Gold 8 to 1. I think, hate to say it, I think Ballyburn's going to have to go like the Clappers to bring the stamina into play. Otherwise, I think if they go a crawl, he might get beat for a turn of foot by something. So
lovely. Thank you, Matty. Good luck. 8 to 1 on Predator's Gold in the Gallaghers. So we move on to the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. Joe, do you have a selection in this race?
Selection number 1, OJ. Yeah, I do.
Lovely.
Do you want me to fire away with that now?
Yeah, away you go, buddy.
Okay, well, I'm going to take on Factor File, but purely on a price perspective, really. I can't go putting up something so short and unlucky. Not that I'm going too much further down the field, but I will be putting up Stay Away Faye for selection number 1. The reason I'm going to be going with Stay Away Faye as well is that he is a nice improving type. He's a very, very good jumper. It's just a credit again to his trainer, Paul Nichols. He really just knows how to get these novice chasers and ones in open company as well to just jump so well. It's a very impressive thing that we just see out of his horses. Now, he's got a nice bit of experience. Of course, he won the Bartlett last year in pretty good fashion. He's gone on to better things this year too. He won nicely at Exeter. He won really well at Sandown. And then he managed to finish 3rd in open company against some very good horses and only finished about 3 lengths back at Capodanno. So even though Factor File is the talking horse and he's got obviously everything in his favour, he has only beaten Gaelic Warrior in almost a walk around, to be honest, from how it turned out. And then he only had a small field prior to that as well. So he's still got to prove that he's going to be able to do it when he's got some better horses around him. So Stay Away Faye for me at whatever price, 11-4 maybe.
11-4. We've got it there. Yep.
Will do for me.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Joseph. Matty, have you got a selection in the Browns?
I have. I'm also taking on Factor File on the price angle. Completely get Joe's reasoning behind Stay Away Faye. Obviously, Broadway boy coming into the race now. That changes the complete complexion of how it's going to be run. He's going to try and get from the front, isn't he, and make it a proper emphasis on stamina, which will be right up Stay Away Faye's street. However, I said on the preview of the night I was hoping this boy was going to get supplemented, and he was earlier today. And that is American Mike at 10-1. I wanted him over 3 mile in his hurdle career. However, they stuck to the middle distances. He beat Factor File on his chase debut back in November at Navan over a shorter trip of 2 mile 4. Imagine Williams will expect Factor File to reverse that over a longer trip with American Mike. He's probably got a line of form knowing that American Mike beat Nick Rocket and Manila Kakuna last time out. Maybe not too sure. However, American Mike 10-1. Now he's over a proper trip that I think he should be running at. I really like this lad over fences, so American Mike 10-1.
Lovely, thank you, Matty. A horse you've liked for a long time, and you were a very happy man yesterday. When it
Today?
Today, it was. God, it feels like yesterday. It was today. Lovely, thank you, Matty. 2 down for Matty. 3rd race on day 2 is the Coral Cup, wide open handicap. Nothing for you, Joe?
Nothing for me here, unfortunately.
Nothing for me. I was going to be hoping Sonagino was coming here, but wasn't confirmed at the 6th-day confirmation stage. So no, nothing for me.
Lovely, no problem at all. So we move on to race 4 and Queen Mother Champion Chase. Do either of you? Oh, Joe, do you have a selection?
No, can't take on the Alfab, unfortunately.
No worries. Matty?
Nope.
No for Matty as well. So we move on to the Glen Barclays Cross Country Chase. Joseph, selection in here for you.
My second selection of my army to take down Matty is going to be Delta Work. Again, sort of a price comparison. What have we got there at the moment, OJ?
3-1.
Okay, he may be a touch short, but I still think at the moment he's probably the likeliest winner. The ground's obviously quite soft here at the moment, and I think that's just going to fall into his hands. I know Manella Indo ran an eye-catching race in December, I think it was, or was it November? December. But it doesn't really fill me with too much confidence because I still think Manella Indo is going to have to improve quite a lot on that run to beat Delta Work if he turns up in the same form as either of the last 2 years. So I just think Delta Work is going to take a little bit of beating, short enough in the betting, but I'm quite happy to have him in my squad, knowing that we're going to have conditions to suit.
Lovely, like that, Joe. I will add here. Sorry, we chose Coral as the bookmaker, so we're going with their prices, and all these prices are non-runner money back. So some of them may be a bit shorter than you can get elsewhere, but 3-1 bell to work, I'm sure, will smack of good value, even so, to a lot of people. Okay, Matty, have you got one in the cross country?
I haven't. I completely agree with Joe, though. And Delta Work didn't really make the team, but I had a feeling Joe was going to put him up. So I've gone with a horse in a different race. Nothing in the cross country, because I agree with Joe. Delta Work is going to win this. Yeah.
Lovely. Okie dokie. Thank you, Matty. So we move on to race 6. It'll be, won't it, on day 2? Johnny Henderson Grand Annual. Joseph, I'm assuming you've got one in here for us.
Yes, I really fancy Madara in this race. Probably already where I was going to put him up, because I have put him up Ante-Post, but my mind hasn't swayed even up to now. He is only a 5-year-old, so you need a little bit of experience from a 5-year-old to come and win a race like this. But he's already had 9 chase starts, 5 in France, and then he's had 4 here since he joined Sophie Leach as well. Now, he did okay in his first 2. He travelled all right, but looked like he was needing the experience because they both came on the old course at Cheltenham. But he then went back and bolted up on the new course next time out. And then when we were at the DRF, he was actually sent over there following his win at Cheltenham. And James Reevely came all the way over from France just to ride this one horse. So that was a bit of a story in itself. And he duly got the job done in really good fashion. And he has gone up a few pounds. And I know a lot of people are thinking that Pat Darou's going to have a really good chance of sort of reversing the form, but I don't see it that way at all. I think Madara is the improver. As I said, he's only a 5-year-old, so he could be actually a really young novice in this sort of company. He's definitely improving. He's won at Cheltenham on the new course. He then won at the DRF, and I think he's going to go do the same at the festival. So Madara for me.
Madara 10-1 currently with Corals there for us. So lovely selection, Joe. Thank you, sir. Matty, your selection in this race, please.
Yeah, I'm taking Joe on. Obviously, anyone that's watched the previews will know, and the Ante-Post show. I'm very, very keen on this horse. I was keen on him in November, and it's triple trade. I think 20-1's a massive price. He actually beat Madara, giving him £6, and he'd be massively better off at the weights this time, with Madara going up to a marker 143 after that win at the DRF and carrying 11-1, as opposed to triple trade if he gets in. Well, he is in now, carrying 10 stone 10. Obviously, the weight's probably gone up if a couple of do come out, but I think it's a big weight swing there. Back at Cheltenham around the course, he runs well. I fully expect him to go close, and 20-1 for me for triple trade, still well overpriced.
Lovely, thank you, Matty. Lovely, juicy price. And finally, on to the last day the last race on day 2 of the festival, the champion bumper. And once again, Joseph, we'll come to you first, sir.
Yeah, nice one, OJ. So I fancy one quite strongly here, and it's a horse called You Ought to Know for Willie Mullins. I think this is by far his best bumper horse that he's got, certainly right now anyway. I think there's a few that might be able to progress past him with a little bit more experience, but I just like what he's done so far. He absolutely smacked Croke Park on debut, and then backed it up by beating Toto 2 next time out, who's a pretty decent horse himself as well. Then he was chucked in the deep end after a little bit of a break at the DRF and finished second behind Jeroboam Mashan. Now, Jeroboam Mashan, for me, is actually the best bumper horse that we've seen all season long. So for me, that form obviously stacks up quite well with him being out for the season. If you go back to the beginning of the season as well, You Ought to Know was actually implanted as the favourite for the Supreme Novices Hurdle. He was dubbed as being the Supreme horse very, very early on, but through a slight minor setback a couple of times, they just kept him to bumpers and have obviously kept him nice and fresh for Cheltenham as well. Now, when we saw him at the DRF, I thought he was chucked in the deep end a little bit, but of course it all makes sense. You go to the DRF, you run a good race, then you can go and take your chance then at Cheltenham. Now, I know obviously you usually want a horse that has got a string of 1s by his name. This one's got 2 1s and then a 2 for finishing second, but the favourite, obviously, the winner at the DRF has actually come out. And I just think You Ought to Know has got the best form and the best engine in the race. He was cajoled along. The more he was learning, the better he was doing as the race went on. And I think that would have blown the cobwebs away last time out. And I think he's going to have 5-6 lengths on that performance. So for me, You Ought to Know is miles better than Jasmine DeVoe and also better than Cantico. So You Ought to Know is my selection for the bumper.
Lovely. You Ought to Know at 7-1. Thank you, Joe. And I think our Alex will be liking that selection. I think that's one that he's pretty sweet on as well. Matty, back over to you for the final selection.
Yeah, I'm going to put up Jalon Duderis, another one that I've liked throughout the season. I completely get Joe's point on You Ought to Know. He did run a great race and he will come on massively for it. I like horses that tend to race prominently in the bumper, and Jalon Duderis does like to go from the front. He beat Redemption Day by over 2.5 lengths at Leopardstown at Christmas. That day knuckling down well. Yeah, he's a horse that I like going from the front. The only issue or worry that I'd have about You Ought to Know is the bumper. Big field, turning in, could he end up with just getting unlucky again and having a little bit of trouble in the coming through the field in the final furlong? That's all.
Lovely. Jalon Duderis for Matty in the bumper. So there we have it. 4 selections each. I'll quickly ask Joe, are you going win only or each way?
Win only for me, OJ.
Lovely. That's what we like to hear. Matty, win only?
Yeah, win only. Yeah.
Love it. Well, there's some lovely juicy prices in there. So let's hope for some good runs and some nice winners. I'll have a quick final summary of what was selected. So for Joe, we've got Stay Away Faye in the Browns at 11-4. Delta Work in the cross country 3-1, Madeira in the Grand Annual at 10-1, and You Ought to Know in the bumper at 7-1. So we'll be placing a 50p win lucky 15 on those 4. For Matty, we've got Predators Gold in the Gallaghers Novice Chase at 8-1, a Novice Hurdle, sorry, at 8-1. American Mike 10-1 in the Browns Advisory. Triple Trade at a very juicy 20-1 in the Grand Annual, and Jalon Duderis at 6-1 in the bumper. Similarly, a 50p win lucky 15 will be placed. Gentlemen, thank you. You were very nice to each other. We weren't expecting that. I thought it'd be a bit more niggle, but
I'm not allowed to drink because I'm working in the morning.
Joe should be very relieved about that.
Definitely am. I am.
So, gents, thanks for your time. Great selections. Really appreciate it. Joe, thanks for coming on again, mate. I know you're busy tonight recording your festival preview. So anybody watching, I'm sure that'll be on their radar. But if not, make sure you get on and watch Ginger Joe's festival preview when it is released. Be well worth a watch.
Was that a joke as well?
I
was going to mute Matty then for a minute.
Yeah. hopefully, across the 4 days of doing this, though, we can get some returns and we can make some money for the
absolutely
Injured Jockeys Fund.
For the Injured Jockeys Fund, absolutely. And make sure you give Joe's channel a subscribe if you're not already on there. And please, folks, if you don't mind subscribing to our channel, it doesn't cost anything. And stick any comments in there, what you think about the selections. Give the boys a bit of grief. I don't mind. Lay into them, but And we'll be back soon with day 3. Thank you, fellas. All the best for next week, chaps.
Yeah, good luck, Joe. Cheers, OJ.
You too.